Today's topic is how much body fat do we really have? So, a lot of you think you know how much percent body fat you have because you might have done skin fold caliper testing, you might have even done underwater weighing, you might have done the DEXA scan, some kind of a electrical test like the one where you step on a scale and it spits out a number through some kind of a gas, or the handheld machines and you hold your arms out and all of a sudden it says, are you an athlete? No, yes, then here's your percent. Well, some of them are a little bit more accurate than others. All of them are a guess, so you don't really know. So whatever the test you did, you might have a guess of what body fat percentage you are. The problem is all the tests are different, and so when you're comparing one to the other, it's basically impossible to get an accurate comparison. So even the same caliper, this is a $600 and something caliper that I use. It's very accurate. It's only as accurate as the person testing. So if I don't know how to pinch, or I move this even a half a centimeter, I can get a totally different reading. So somebody who's inexperienced, they don't know what they're doing, they're not going to give you a good test. When I was in university to do this stuff, I held my arm out and one of my students in my class pinched me like this and said, oh my God, you're so much fatter than I thought. They literally were being tested on their ability to test body fat, and she pinched my bicep and was like, you're obese. You're supposed to pinch the skin. You see what I mean? So just an example of how a bad tester is going to ruin the results. Now, in general, almost everyone underestimates what percent they are. Why? Because a low number is cool. What percent are you? I'm 6%, man. Yeah, I'm ripped. People love that. It's not cool to say, yeah, I'm 24% fat. It's like, what? People don't like it. So they're gonna give you a low number. Some of these low numbers, because every single person that steps on that body fat thing that says, are you an athlete? They all say yes. So you're telling me I've been training for 25 years competitively as a bodybuilder, triathlons, everything. Joe Blow joined the gym 3 weeks ago and they're training 3 days a week on CrossFit, and they're all of a sudden an athlete, and so they get the same measurement as me on that test. I did the test with the little, electrical current. I was 18% body fat. So just slightly overweight, not very good, even though I had abs and was fairly lean. And I did this test and I was at 9.8%. So just an example of how it's not really accurate. And if I don't press the athlete setting, I'm like 24%. All it's doing is guessing your height and weight. But anyway, I don't want to get off topic on which tests are too accurate. This is about how fat are you, or how much body fat do you really have. Okay, so I'll start with women and I'll go through all the averages and whatnot. So if you are alive, so anyone watching this, that's you. You're alive because you're watching me speak. Your body fat is at least 9%, so don't give me bullshit. You're 5% body fat, 6%, blah, blah. You're not. You're over 9, okay? Straight up, you have essential fat to live. Essential fat. You cannot be 5% body fat if you're female. You would be dead, and you wouldn't be watching the video to talk about it. So 9% is as lean as you can get as a female. I don't care what method of testing you use. If you came up as 7 point something, it's wrong. Find a new coach, find a new trainer, find a new body fat testing device. It is not accurate, okay? You don't know how many bikini girls tell me they're 10% or 12% body fat. I said, oh, so you're in the Miss Olympia for bodybuilding? No. And I'm like, that girl's 11%. She has veins coming out of her forehead. You're not 10% fat if you're a bikini girl. Come on. It's ridiculous, okay? The average bikini competitor at like a national level, so we're talking like the best top quality bikini girls, 13 to 18. Why is your range? Some girls look better with a little bit more curve, a little bit more roundness. Some look better with that more of a ripped, kind of like the harder abs look. So they're not all the same. You can't just say bikini, you have to be 13%. Bikini, you should be 16%. So that's the general range. At a novice level show or a provincial level show, trust me, half the girls are not going to be under 18. The 20s is going to be very common for a girl in bikini. So if your coach says you're 20% body fat and you're a girl, don't feel like you just are horrible. That's not bad. You're almost at national level for leanness, so you're not bad at all. But just make sure that you believe the test you're doing. And really, even if the coach says you're 9%, it doesn't really matter as long as he says 9%, you're not lean enough, you have to lose 3 more percent. Well, if you're at 8 next week, boom, you did good. You just lost 1%. So also on the other side, if they say, guess what, you're 49%, and they're like, what? Well, if the next week you're 48%, the next week you're 47, it's serving its purpose, okay? Figure. If you're in figure, you're gonna be around 12 to 15% at the national level. If you're a novice, unless you're a shredded, you're probably going to be over 15. The 15 to 12, that's like the top girls that are really in good shape. The ones that are like, they're in the gym and you can tell they're competing. You don't need to ask. You're like, are you competing? No, if you have to ask, they're not 12%. They look like, oh my God, they're so ripped. Like, what's wrong with them almost? Okay? That's figure. Physique, 10 to 12%. Physique girls are the ones flexing the biceps and they have to show the extreme definition. We're talking like cross striations sometimes in the quads, stuff like that. Even some striated glutes I've seen on girls that are 10 to 12%. So that's really lean. Now, just because that's the top girls doesn't mean you have to be that lean to compete. So if you're at provincials and you're 15% fat and you're doing physique, chances are you're going to look really good and fit right in. But I'm just talking about like this is the elite. This is the top girls in the country. What's healthy? What's obese? The average body fat for females is about 33%. I've been testing people for over 20 years. I've tested thousands of people, okay? I know what average is. I know what most people are like. So if I test you and you're 33%, does that mean, is that good because you're average? No. That's not good. 33 is not good. 33 is average. Average is overweight. Okay? The average Canadian is overweight. So if I test your body fat and you come up as average, you need to lose weight. Don't have to, but for health reasons, if you're trying to like live longer and be fit and not get a heart attack, then you should lose some weight. So what's healthy? Clearly over 33, the higher you go, the worse it gets. So if you're like 100 pounds overweight, you're morbidly obese. That means like the obesity is to the point that it's going to kill you. Okay? So that's like you're getting into 45 and 50% body fat. You're weighing 350 pounds and stuff like that. It's like really high. And it's like an emergency. And those kind of diets are extreme. You can go on a 500 calorie diet at that point. It's like going to save your life. So, again, off topic. Average for just health, under 30%. If you're under 30, you're not bad. You're doing pretty good. So somebody comes up and is like 27%. I'm like, man, that's a healthy range. You're a healthy, decent, normal kind of body fat. You're not an athlete zone of fitness. Like you're not playing college basketball, but for the average person on the street, that's awesome. So just stay under 30. There's such a thing as too lean. Like if you're 15% body fat and you're not even working out, that's it's like under fat. It's like your body fat is too low. It probably means you're not eating enough, okay? You might be suffering from maybe a slight amount of anorexia, or you have body image disorder, or maybe you just have freaky genetics that just make you be really lean, and in that case, that's fine. But if you're like losing your period, amenorrhea it's called, or you're having difficulty, low energy, body fat's really low, 15%. Couple girls I've seen that have been able to maintain that year-round, couple. We're talking like 1% of people. So 15% is not the normal body fat percentage. When you go to the beach and you see a bunch of girls walking around, none of them are 15%. If they are, you're like, holy, look how ripped that girl is. I bet she competed in something. So it stands out a lot. Okay, that's the women. Flipping it down to the boys. Men need 3% body fat to live. So if you're watching this video, that's you're over 3%. I know because you're not dead. If you were 1%, you would be dead. Sure, you can do a test and it'll come out as 1%, but guess what? It's because the test is wrong. Simple as that. It's not accurate. 3% is essential fat in order to live. There's fat under your skin, you know, subcutaneous, under the skin, and there's visceral fat, like in your body, like in your organs and around your heart. It cushions you. It's floating around in your body, protect you from dying, whatever. There's fat that you can see, and there's fat in your body that you can't see. So you need 3% to live. If you get too low, you die. So if you don't eat for a month and you're at 5%, you'll probably get to 3%, then you'll just lose all your muscle till you weigh 50 pounds, and then you'll die. At 3% body fat. It's not gonna get any lower. So, what body fat do men compete at? Every guy thinks they're 6%. They all think it. Not many of them are. Physique, 6 to 9% is the top guys at the national level. Okay? So you pick some really lean guys. Trust me, if you're 6%, you know it. You're suffering. There's only a couple guys in my lifetime I've seen maintain 6% body fat year-round, and it is ripped. It's not the guys on the beach walking around with the nice abs. That's not 6%. We're talking vascularity, shreds everywhere, head to toe, cross-striated quads, your glutes are in. It looks freaky, okay? So 6 to 9% is the typical men's physique board shorts guy. Great build, not likely maintainable for year-round people, okay? Maybe 1% can maintain that shredded kind of look. I can't, and I've been a professional bodybuilder. So obviously it's pretty hard if I can't do it, all right? Bodybuilding, or say classic bodybuilding, classic physique, you know, the ones that do the posing, okay? These guys are gonna be usually around 4 to 6% at national level. Why not 3? Because 3 is like 1 in a million that get to that level. We're talking just the excessive bodybuilder that, like, you've seen pictures on Instagram or it gets shared, it's like, holy my goodness, look at this guy. Those are the guys that are close to 3. 4% is where I compete at, and I'm a professional bodybuilder known for being very lean. So that is, trust me, very, very lean. When I first competed, I was still known as being a lean guy, and I was usually around 7% body fat, like 20 years ago. So 7% is very lean, not national level. But when you get to nationals, if you're at 4 to 5%, like you're in the top guys of conditioning. If you're at 6, you're probably in the bottom end of like the really top level national guys. So anyway, that sums up the competition stuff. And if you're not 6 to 9%, don't quit your prep, okay? You can still do the men's physique at 10%, at 12%. You have good abs and stuff. Maybe you're lucky and you're holding most of your fat in your legs because it's really the upper body that they're going to be looking at. You can get away with it. And not everyone has to win. You're not winning if you're 12% though, but you can go on stage and look okay. Okay, so give it a try. You know, don't quit. What percent is healthy and obese and all that stuff? If you're 25% body fat, it's not good. It's not good, okay? That's average, and it's obese / overweight. So I'm not gonna go into the exact parameter of what's considered obese, and that. This is a simple video just for the average person, okay? 25% for a man, not good, but average, okay? 20%, yes. If you're at 20% or less, you're doing good. That means you definitely are somewhat healthy, somewhat lean. You know, you're not gonna die of a heart attack because of your overweight and that kind of thing, okay? And obviously, the leaner you get, a little bit more health benefits, as long as you don't get too lean, you know, 5% body fat. If you're a marathon runner or you're running the Tour de France, or you're biking the Tour de France, you know, triathlons, they might have that low end, like single digit body fat in the 5, 6, 7% range. But if you're like a normal person and you're just trying to be fit, you're not gonna be 5 or 6 or 7%. You're probably not even gonna be 8 or 9%. Like really, like most guys that hire me, okay, and I've tested so many, most of them come up to me between 15 and 18%. That's people that are already working out hard because they've hired me and like they wanna like do a show. That's like their off season. So most guys are not single digit body fat. I've had like 1 in 100 guys that hire me are under 10%. And it's like so easy to get them ready because they're so lean to start with. So the leaner you are in the off season, the easier it's gonna be to prep, but that's another topic. Can Okay, so let's see. Did I summarize everything? Body fat, you really have. Yeah, so I'll give you an example of, this is how you know that you're not the percent you are. You're a 200-pound guy, and I ask you, what percent are you? And you say, I'm about 10% because I have abs, and they flex the abs or whatever. And I'm like, there's no way in hell you're 10%. Then they likely look at me and be like, fuck you, I don't like this. Why are you saying this to me? And I'm like, you're not 10%. I'm like, I'm 10%. And they're like, oh no, you're probably 5. I'm like, no, 5 is shredded, man. And they're like, yeah, but you are. I'm like, no, shredded is this guy. And I'll show them a picture on Instagram. Okay, 10% body fat. If you're 10% and you weigh 200 pounds, quick math lesson, 10% of 200 is 20. 20 minus 200 is 180. You have 180 pounds of 0% body fat shred. No one can get to 0. So you can't even be 180. So that means you can't even lose 20 pounds. If you're 200 pounds and you're 10% body fat and you drop 5%, that would put you at 5% body fat. 10 minus 5 is 5. 5% body fat, you would be 190. Okay, so ask yourself, if you're a 200-pound guy and you lose 10 pounds, will you be national level shredded to go on stage and pose in a bodybuilding contest? Shredded. If you're not, then you are 10%. Flip it to the girls. Typical girl, 130 pounds, and I'll ask her what percent fat you are. I'm 10% fat, and I'm getting close to contest. 10%, I'm like, and they don't understand essential fat, and their coach told them it's not their fault. If you were to lose 5% of 130 pounds, that's 6.5 pounds, that'd put you at 123.5 pounds. That'd be 5%. So do you think that this girl, or like, this is just a random example, do you think that if they lost 6.5 pounds, they would be at 5% body fat and like literally on their deathbed? The normal girl that's really lean can still lose 20 pounds. It's because they're not as lean as they think they are. So usually girls are 5 or 10% even higher than the coaches are telling them. It really is a pet peeve of mine, because I have a lot of clients and I test them and they always compare themselves to other people that they see on the internet or on in other countries, province, whatever. And it's like, how come I'm 20%? This girl's 15. And it's like, different test, it's not accurate. It's just a guess. So bottom line, you're fatter than you think you are. You are fatter than you think you are. All of you. I can bet with all of you, because 9 out of 10 of you, probably 90%, think your body fat percentage is lower than it is. So I can tell all of you that you're fatter than you think you are, and I'll be right 9 out of 10 times. So I'll make a lot of money if I bet $100 with all of you. 9 out of 10 are gonna lose the bet. It's just, that's as simple as it is, okay? Maybe I'm not even 9.8%. I'm probably fatter, because I probably think I'm leaner than I am too. But that's what the test says, so whatever, I'll go with it. But really, you can't just say, oh, I'm gonna take a DEXA scan and it'll be right. The DEXA scan's wrong too. All the tests are wrong, they're all guesses, okay? And I'm not gonna kill myself and have them strip out all my fat and weigh it to find out my percent. So the only way you can find out is you're dead and they do that. Other than that, hope this helped understand, shed some light on body fat percentages. And if you're looking for a coach to help you get less of that body fat, send me a message, gregdoucette@hotmail.com. Leave your comments below. Let me know what percent you are, what you think you are. I can answer. You can give me some skinful measurements. Send me some pictures. I'm really good at guessing body fat percentage. I can probably tell you way more accurately than any kind of standing test or the body fat test you stand on the scale or the one at the superstore, the health meter thing there, whatever. Just a couple pictures and I can guess your percentage way more accurate than most tests can, because I've done this with thousands of people, okay? So anyway, keep subscribing and I will post new videos in the future. And out.